What's up, everybody? It's Mover. Welcome back to the Mover Mailbag. We did the actual P.O. Box mail last week, and this week we're going to do the webmail stuff. So happy Friday. I hope everything's going well. Hope you're enjoying the Helo vids and the DCS vids. Quick channel notes while we're talking about it. I don't know how much longer we can do Mover Ruins Movies. The YouTube copyright system is a very unique system, and it puts the determinations, unlike fair use, where fair use is, it's either is or it isn't. It allows the content owner to decide whether something is fair use. So what has happened for previous videos that were previously approved, some audio company has now gone in and done copyright claims on the incidental music in those clips. And then like Top Gun has been blocked by Paramount, so that's been done for a while. I'm waiting on that. So there's a decent chance that some of those videos will end up getting copyright strikes on the channel, which I have successfully fought before, and I will fight it because it's obviously it's fair use and that's just how it works. But there's a better than average chance that they all come due at the same time and the channel gets shut down. So if that ever happens, check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/CWLemoyne, or Instagram CWLemoyne, or Twitter CWLemoyne, and then you can find out what's going on. So if it ever, you ever see this channel suddenly go away. But this is the first time I'm back in the office in a while. I've been doing helicopter videos and stuff like that. All the DCS and Mover Ruins Movies content that you've been seeing has been all previously filmed. So I am going to work on here Ace Combat 7. I'm not going to play it, but I am going to I've found a video of the campaign gameplay and the walkthrough of the cutscenes and stuff. So I will do a Mover Ruins gaming on that, but just be careful what you wish for. You guys asked for it. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know why people want to know about the realism of that, but it is what it is. Also, Independence Day, I would love to get that one done on the 4th of July, but like I said, it's a crapshoot at this point. When I first started doing Mover Ruins movies, I had no problems at all, and then lately it's been, blocked and copyright and demonetized and all that stuff. So, if I'm able to get that out on time, I will. If not, it may be a month before you see the actual whatever I do. So, just so you know, trying to be as upfront and honest about it as possible. So, today we're going to take a look at a couple emails from you, and we will see how that goes. So the first one is from Sam, and Sam says, "Hey CW, foremost, thank you for your service and keep up everything you're doing. We need more people like you today in this current world we live in. I watched your interview with Jolly Pilot, and that got me very interested in flying Helos. Since I'm planning on the Academy backup of ROTC, backup to that as a full ride scholarship if I choose not to go to the military, my dream is the Air Force Academy. I know that I'm going to get in. Not because I'm cocky, but because you make them tell you no." Good. "I'll keep reapplying until they let me in, but I've always wanted to be a fighter pilot since I was little. I'm a junior in high school, and I'll be putting in my application to the Air Force Academy this year. Within a 10-year commitment, I want to be a fighter pilot. Needs of the Air Force, however, I'm going to give it my all at USAFA and undergraduate pilot training. Then after my commitment, I want to transfer to Reserves or Guard and fly Helos. I know Jolly Pilot said something about fighter guys transferring. If you get more info about that, it would be greatly appreciated. I think it'd be cool to fly Helos with part-time Guard or Reserves. Make it easier to settle down, relatively speaking, for a family, so I think it would be a great option. Thanks again for all you do. Make them tell you, more importantly, assert dominance. Tomcats!" Okay, so first, I'm glad you're going to make them tell you no. I think it's awesome that you're motivated, and I think it's great that you know what you want and you're going to do it. However, slow down. Unique careers like that are exceedingly rare, and it is not a good idea to go into this profession wanting to, well, I'm going to do everything or whatever. I mean, I'm very lucky in that I was able to do a lot of things that, most people don't. But when you're going active duty, you should be wanting to do your best at every step of the way. I'm going to go to Air Force Academy. I'm going to do very well in the Air Force Academy. I'm going to do all the soaring and flying and all the different programs that you can do. I'm going to go to pilot training. I'm going to do very well in ground school. I'm going to do very well in T6s. And then if I get T-38s, I'm going to do very well in that. When I go to become a fighter pilot, I'm going to dedicate myself to the craft of being a fighter pilot, not thinking of, well, 10 years down the road, I want to go to the Guard and fly helicopters. Because you will not do very well if that's what you're thinking of. Your goal needs to be, I'm going to be the best fighter pilot I can. With helicopters, it happens. It is very rare, and I think the idea that, hey, I'm going to do this for a little while, because I see this a lot. I see a lot of people are like, well, hey, I want to go do this for a little while, then do that. Personally, I just think that that's a recipe for not doing very well at anything, versus do as well as you can, and then if it works out, then maybe consider it later. The other part to what you're saying about settle down, relatively speaking, for a family, they deploy a lot. I mean, Jolly Pilot talked about it. He was deployed a lot. He was gone a lot. Switching to a different airframe is going to incur orders, so you're going to have to be on active duty orders when you first start. You're going to be an inexperienced guy in that squadron, so you're going to have to fly more. You're going to be starting from the bottom again. So I don't think it's as laid back as you think it is. I think it's going to be pretty intense, and I think it's going to be a lot of work. And at that phase of your career, after doing 10 years in a fighter, I don't know that that's something you might even want to do at that point. But keep up what you're doing. You know, like I said, one thing at a time. Get the commissioning source, whether it's ROTC or the academy, which, you know, those are all options. And then kind of worry about what's in front of you than, you know, trying to switch. There's always going to be options. You know, you could probably fly, you know, civilian side helicopters as well, like I'm doing, you know, customs or something like that. So anyway, hope that answers that question. But it's rare. All right, this is from Brian. Hello, Mover. I really enjoyed your videos, and I'm fascinated with military aviation. I have some questions for you. I spoke to a pilot who's flown for a cargo company and an airline company. He told me it is very, very competitive to fly for FedEx or UPS because they pay very well. He said you almost have to know someone to fly for FedEx or UPS. In your videos, I've not heard you talk about flying for those two companies. It is very difficult to get a job for those two companies compared to a major airline. Pros and cons for flying for them compared to a major airline. Would you fly for them? Do they pay better than the airlines? Have you applied to fly for UPS or FedEx? Can you commute to your home base like an airline to fly for them? Is it more stable to fly for them than an airline? What engine is louder, F-16 or F-18? I've talked with two military pilots. They told me the hardest thing to do flying is landing when you learn how to fly. I know you had experience flying before you went to pilot training. Do most pilots in UPT have struggled landing an airplane in pilot training? What makes landing an airplane so challenging? Thanks, Brian. Oh, wow, there's a lot of questions in here. Okay, FedEx or UPS is cargo. I've told my story before, which usually pisses off everybody on airline pilot forums, because they think that in order to be an airline pilot, you have to want to be an airline pilot since you're old enough to say the word airline, and then that's it. You can't not like the job or not have any interest in it. But I didn't want to be an airline pilot, and so when I got my ATP, it was because I was grandfathered in on the ATP written, and I was like, well, what the hell, I need to go get my ATP. And then I had it, so I started applying. So yeah, I applied everywhere, and the reason I ended up with my airline is because they called first, and I went and interviewed, and they hired me. I did eventually get an offer to interview from FedEx, but it was after I was already in training for my current job, so I didn't go. It is a good job. They do pay very well. The corporate culture is very good. They treat their people very well. Yes, you can commute, just like an airline. Is it more stable? Historically, it has been, you know, at least since 9/11. You know, even in the COVID-19, where other airlines are talking about possible furloughs and stuff, you know, the cargo guys are like, nope, we're still cooking along. We're still doing well. The pay is a little bit better. A second-year first officer at FedEx makes about what, you know, third, fourth year pilot at a normal airline would make. So yes, but you are flying a lot of night, backside of the clock, wide-body international stuff. So if your body likes that kind of thing, you're going to be fine. You're going to have a great time. If sleeping on airplanes and switching time zones and stuff is hard for you, it's going to be more challenging. It's a great place to work. I mean, it's a great thing. I don't talk about airline stuff a lot because it's not one of my passions. It's not something I'm interested in all that much. So that's why there's really not been much to talk about. But yeah, it's a great option, and you know, people who do it are very, very happy with what they do. All right, which engine is louder? In burner, I think the F-16. I think the F-16 in general is just a louder from the outside. From the inside, it's no different. You're wearing earplugs, you're wearing a headset or a helmet with a headset in it. It's no different. Hardest thing to do is landing. Well, I mean, you're taking a high rate of speed and trying to convert it to a slow rate of speed. So of course it's going to be more challenging. It just takes more finesse, more precision. It's not robotic. You know, a lot of it's just a little bit of a little bit of finesse, and it's just something you got to get the feel for, get the sight picture down, and it's harder to do. I don't remember a lot of people in my class struggling with landing, maybe in the T-38, which is a very hard airplane to land just because it's so fast and has no wing, and you know, it's different sight picture than most aircraft. But I don't think that's a huge problem. But you know, obviously landing in general, landing like hovering in a helicopter, it's just very different, and it takes a lot of finesse. So. All right, this one comes from Ryan. Mover, thank you for doing an explanation of the accident report for JTACz and Ugly 400. It was my first experience losing a pilot and an aircraft. Everyone around the squadron enjoyed Lieutenant Commander Walker's presence. I appreciate your channel and your outstanding professionalism when it comes to loss of aircrew, aircraft events, and airframer fight ugly. The mishap reports are tough. You know, it's a very tough line that I try to walk between being factual, you know, because I only report off of what's in the official report. I don't try to speculate. Explaining what that means and still being respectful to the fallen and their families. Because as I've discovered, the families sometimes watch the videos, and it's very tough. It's very hard for them to watch it, and it's very tough for me because, you know, as a fighter pilot, I know that any given Sunday, right? No one is immune from things happening, and especially in this case, JTACz was a very experienced, very good fighter pilot. Everybody liked him. You know, he was, you know, if it can happen to him, it can happen to anyone. And part of it too is explaining to those that are, you know, maybe thinking about being a fighter pilot that, hey, this is what can happen. It can happen to anyone, and you have to know what the realities of the job are. So thank you, an airframer, for that email. I'm very sorry for your loss. The world is truly a lesser place without him. Next question. This one says, you and Hippie Guru changed my life. First step to PPL. Hey Mover, long-time listener, first-time mailbagger. I grew up loving aviation, always fascinated with it, and have wanted to get a license since I was young. For a while, I considered joining the Air Force to fly fighters, but ended up taking a very different career path in filmmaking, which I love. Oh, that's cool. I found one of your videos in January and loved being able to hear the answers to questions I had always had about fighter pilot life. After listening to your videos and philosophy for a while, I decided to re-examine this dream and push past any obstacles. Figured out what I needed to get a cert with my red-green deficiency and started talking to a medical examiner. Found online ground school and started learning. Today, I took my first flying lesson and it was outstanding. I'm excited to finally be pursuing this dream and can't wait to get back into the books and ultimately be back in the air. Still trying to figure out how to cover the cost, but I'm trying to create momentum and a plan rather than backing out and waiting. Funnily, my instructor is former Air Force, used to fly C-130s in the Air Force. He's called the Dirty 30. Only 2 people on the internet have made an impact in my life. A hippie music guru that I learned to play the harmonica from, and you. I've never been one to reach out to people I watch on YouTube, but I want to sincerely thank you for what you do with your channel and the positive message you put out here. You've been an inspiration and taught me things that have brought me back to this lifelong dream that I've learned to apply in my career. I hate to be repeating what everyone already seems to say, but it seems damn true, and it's good to see how much the solid positivity, clear-mindedness, and genuinity that you put out is helping people. Very few times have I understood the meaning of being a role model. This is one of them. I really damn appreciate what you do, and I want to thank you. Sincerely, Lido. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're taking the plunge. And I always recommend, like you talked about, try to set aside the funds up front so that you have no break in training, no continuity breaks, because you just bam, 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 and that way it's cheaper, and you'll learn more. So, anyway. All right, last question. How do you get out of a BFM brawl when you're bingo fuel? Brains. Hey, Mover. First of all, great content. I really enjoy your YouTube channel. Thanks for all the awesome uploads. My question, in a hypothetical situation when you're a one-ship flight, DCS, What do you do when you're in a close quarters BFM fight in a modern jet and you push the burner so much that your bingo fuel? Extending with a Mach 2 capable missile tracking you doesn't seem like a good option. Ignoring fuel state will also lead to a premature disembarkment. Is this a situation you just shouldn't have gotten into in the first place? Kind regards, Brains. Yeah, well. So, you got to look at what the threat is. You have to fight your best 1v1 BFM, period. I mean, the biggest threat is someone else shooting you down. So you have to do that. And if you get into a situation where your bingo fuel, he's going to shoot you down if you try to disengage. Now, hopefully you're not out there by yourself. You've got a wingman. You know, you're trying to survive until your wingman can roll in and stuff. But if you're out by your lonesome, you're just in a very bad situation. And the only thing you can do is keep fighting until one of you, flames out, or figure out a way to get out of the fight. But you have to know, if you're going to do that, that person's not going to shoot you as you run away, because that's a very likely scenario. It's not like World War II where guns only. Yep, I could get out of the gun zone and keep going and get away forever. So that's just a bad situation. I mean, it's just not your day at that point. But obviously, you can't, logically, you cannot leave the fight because they're going to shoot you. But, you keep fighting, you're going to run out of gas and have to eject anyway. That's just not a good position to be in. And there really is no hard and fast rule on that. It's just, fight your best fight, win, and then get out there. And then you can fly a bingo profile, climb up high, try to save gas, at least get you limping into good guy territory, hopefully, so that you can eject safely as you flame out, because you're probably not going to make it back to base if you underfly. Well, you won't if you underfly bingo. So anyway, all right, if you want to send me something, the link's in the description. I got a contact form now. If you want something for the Mover Mailbag, use the Mover Mailbag. If you want to send something directly, CWLemoyne, CWLemoyne.com. If you want to mail me something, P.O. Box 8594, Manaville, Louisiana 70470. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Excuse me. Oh, no. Oh! Meant a lot of that. Usually fine with the doors off. All box 2. Don't be a douche. That's rule number 1. I can tell you now.